3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Good afternoon. Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday, and that means it is the Dennis and Andy show. I can't carry a tune like I used to.
Or hold out a note.
That's what I actually meant to say. I can't hold a note. Well,
Because it's
I do have a diagnosis of asthma, so, the lung capacity isn't there
Oh.
like it used to be. You should feel sorry for me, but you don't.
I do. I feel sorry for you in so many ways.
Oh, my height deficiency.
Yep.
Oh.
And your warmth deficiency, because it's like he's got it set to 76 in here, and he says it's chilly.
I know. I got my flannel on and a long
and I'm
sleeve.
dying. I've been a short sleeve shirt. Yes, I wore my DNA shirt. Notice one of us, he made sure I wore it. And what did he wear today? Nothing.
Aloha, Andy and Big D. How about them Niners?
How
those
about
Niners?
them Niners?
Those Niners
watched them.
Those Niners are going down on Saturday. Or no, Sunday at 4:30. They are going down. Big D's going to come in. Not this Big D. Big Dallas is going to come in and smack down those Niners, my friend. That is what's going to happen. Probably not now that I brag.
Aren't you at least a little concerned about that?
I'm actually really concerned.
Because, the
concerned.
Niners played with a lot of heart. A lot of heart in that game.
I'm actually very concerned about that game. But we did figure out if Dallas wins and Tampa wins, that means the following weekend, Dallas and Tampa play each other, which means the Smith house has a conundrum because I'm a Dallas fan and my daughter's a Tampa fan. And we even have a flag hanging outside the front of the house that says a house divided. And one half is Dallas and one half is Tampa. So that'll be fun. Whereas Bud Root really wants the Eagles to win against the Bucks. So the Eagles play the Packers the following week and not the Rams if the Rams win. And Tampa and Dallas wins. The Rams go to Packtown.
I know. I actually just texted Bud and said, I really hope the Rams get to play the Packers.
He does too, but he was just hoping for a championship game and not
one and done.
One and done.
Well, two and done.
Two and done.
Because they still have to win this week.
That's true. That's true. Let's share the screen. We're going to do What Did the Boys Get? Because after that, we got to talk a little Matrix. And then after the Matrix.
Yep. And then when we're done, I brought some books. I wound up picking up some books this week. So
and I got a book too. And after we're done talking Matrix, we got Dexter New Blood season finale to talk about. And then if we have time, we'll do a little book of Boba Fett as well. But first and foremost, what did the boys get? Not that big of a week for Dennis. I was surprised, and I actually got 2 books. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it was a small stack by my normal standards. And there was only one number one I looked at. I think it was Rain from Image, and I flipped it open, and I looked at it, and I'm like,
that didn't really do anything for me.
I put it down. So they did not catch me in their audience.
So we got Dark Ages number 4, another event thing for Marvel. I believe it's 6 issues. Before we went live, I asked Dennis, I said, how is it? Have you read it yet? And the answer was no.
No, I looked at the first one, and I'm just going to wait to get them all. And I'll just sit down and read them and review them in one fell swoop.
What's up, Larry? We are the cool guys.
Good to see you, Larry.
Good to see you.
Welcome aboard.
Larry, are you going down to Spartanburg this weekend for Sam's show? Because we are.
Yeah, we're hoping to see you there.
I like the art. I like Iban Coelho's artwork a lot. But I'm just tired of this event stuff. And maybe if you read it and say it's really good, maybe I'll get the trade. I don't know.
And that's kind of where I am with most of the event stuff. Marvel's been kind of losing me on all the above, hence the indies.
But
yeah,
X-Men Legends number 10.
Yeah. I like this one. I popped it up. Fabian and Dan Jurgens, and I got both covers, and I liked it. I think this is going to be a good. This is probably my favorite X-Men book out there right now. It's really in the vein of the old comics.
I just really think
stuff.
They're harkening back to the most popular time.
Yes,
and I flipped through it. I like what Dan does. It's just classic looking. I've got to work with Dan before. Larry's not going to be able to attend. All right, Larry, we'll be thinking about you, brother, and we'll catch you at the next one. I like Dan's work. It has that classic vibe, and that's the stuff I like. I was telling Dennis, I kind of hope that this Volume 2 trade paperback, because the first one collected 1 through 6. So obviously the second one I would assume would be 7 through 12. And that would be cool because 7 through 9 was Billy Tan, and I like his work. And
that was good.
10, 11, and 12, I assume, would be Dan. So there you go.
Yep,
let's see what the next one is on the list. I'll let Dennis take it away because my daughter, for some reason, decides to text me while we're doing the show.
Star Wars issue number 20. I have stuck with the main series of Star Wars. I've ditched all the rest of it. But Charles Soule has been doing the writing. I've enjoyed it throughout the entire thing. The artwork is classic. They look like the characters. It has the feel of Star Wars. This has been a staple, and they've done a good job through the entire series. So as long as they keep up the quality on this, I will continue to get it.
Sweet. And the art's been really good. I can tell you that just from looking at it. Let's see. Larry says, I hope you guys can attend. Of course. It's already on the calendar, Larry.
Yep,
come on.
We already have it on the calendar.
Of course. Looking forward to it. Oops, got to go back over here. Click, 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 click,
Yeah,
boom.
Here we go.
Oh, God.
Final episode of Marauders. Huzzah. Even though this was my favorite book for a while in the X-Men series, there's a lot of changes coming, and I don't know if it's going to be for the better or not, but I was kind of happy to see this one finally end. But they are relaunching it, so we are getting Marauders Volume 2, so they will be kicking that.
Are they really?
They are.
I think did they say they might be doing a new X-Men #1? Oh, no. What I read.
It's X-Men Immortal.
Oh, so it is a #1.
It is.
Because I read that John Romita Jr. is going to be doing Spider-Man again, and they might launch that again with a new #1.
Oh.
They might. I might pick it up because I do like John's Spider-Man stuff.
I wish it would just be a different title Spider-Man instead of just calling it Spider-Man.
That's true. Lunar Room.
I had just did the full review on the first issue yesterday, so you can go type in hashtag full review Lunar Room for #1.
And what's it about?
And it's an interesting. So was a werewolf or is a werewolf, but has been cursed. They have mages. So she worked for, let's say maybe like a thug or a kingpin kind of a mage. Somehow she's gotten cursed and lost her power, but another weaker type mage stole some kind of an amulet and has given her the power, and she winds up having to fight somebody in the ring. And it's got a lot of little different elements. It's kind of all over the place. I'm going to be curious, and they break everything up into chapters. Chapter 1 may be a page and a half, and then it says chapter 2, and it goes through, so you can kind of figure out where they're doing. So it's got some interesting elements. I'm probably going to give this one at least 2-3 issues to see if it coalesces into a really good story.
Cool. Knighted. This is one that I got. Dennis also gets it. 3 of 5. I bought it because I'm a big fan of Mark Texeria's artwork. The story's actually pretty good as well. It's a superhero. This guy basically takes over the mantle of he's just called the Knight, isn't he?
Yeah, he was the Knight, which makes you think of Batman, the Dark Knight, who's a vigilante.
Yep.
And kind of feels bad because the vigilante did some good things and realizes in order to help save the city, he needs to pick up the mantle and become the knight.
And it's, there's some humor behind it as well. The guy that needs to pick up the mantle isn't exactly hero material, so that's pretty cool. It's fun, I like it. Like I said, I like the artwork and stuff. I do like the story, so I'm actually looking forward to reading this tonight. Hotel.
This is, I never read the first volume. I've been picking up this one. It just looks good. I had flipped through the first one and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to continue to pick this one up. It's a mini series, so I'm just going to pick it up and probably do a full review on it once it's all collected.
Nice.
Yeah, it looks good.
It's hellish. And this is, of course, an Andy book, Savage Dragon. I've been getting it since the miniseries and since issue 1. It's been quite a few, what's it been? Probably 3 or 4 months since issue 260 came out. Eric is doing Ant as well, which, they're both supposed to be monthly. I think he probably bit off a little more than he can chew. Honestly, I'd rather have him just concentrate on one book and put all his focus into that. He bought Ant from Mario Gully, the original creator of it. If you want to do 2 books, you could write Ant and just hire an artist, but he's doing it all. So, we'll see. If Dragon starts coming out, or he could just come right out and say, guys, Dragon is going to be 6 times a year. Ant's going to be 6 times a year. They're going to alternate months. That's fine. I'd have no problem with that. That'd be fine. I just like to know, instead of being like, oh, is Dragon coming out? Nope. Oh, is Dragon coming out? Nope. And I mean, issue 1 of Ant came out, I think, in November. So it's not like number 2 came out right after that. So it's a little disappointing. I still like Dragon. It gives me that old school comic vibe, which I love. So that is one of mine. Joe says, what's your feelings about the books AWA putting out? I think they're good.
Yep. I would agree. I think they've got a number of different titles that they're putting out, and their quality. Don't know if they're necessary in everybody's wheelhouse for stories, but I like them, and I think they're doing a decent job. Another small press that's really putting out some good stuff. And I know they're always looking for ideas and stuff. So if anybody out there, thinking about putting out a good book, contact them. I know they're always looking.
Randy says, is Savage Dragon still living in Canada? Yes, he is. Because that bastard Trump ran him out of the country because no aliens. It was dumb. Whatever. I don't care. I mean, I know Eric's politics and stuff. They differ from mine. It's his book. He can do what he wants. I've been with it since issue 1. I'm staying with it because it's still fun. I can get past that dumb political crap that he puts in it. So, like the hat. Why, thank you very much, Chad.
Oh, yeah.
It's my sport and fedora. I've got 3 of them, actually. This is kind of the mid-weather one. Then I do have one that's a little thicker on the inside for winter, and I do have one that's more ventilated for summer.
Oh my, so many.
Yep. This was the first one I ever bought, though. So this is the OG.
It's the classic.
This is Maniac in New York, right?
Yep, that is in the Bronx. And now...
Oh, Maniac in the Bronx?
Yeah, well, it's in New York, but it's actually in the Bronx. And... this takes place now. He's in the high school. So
he's killing high school kids?
He's in the high school. So it kind of gets that flashback of maybe some good old Friday the 13th. I really enjoyed the first series. I didn't like exactly how it ended because I wanted a little more closure on a couple of points. But they're getting volume 2 here, and it's just as good as the first one, the actual story. So I will probably be doing a full review on this one in the upcoming, probably after issue 3.
All right, there you go, because that's 2. Nix.
Yeah, I've been joining it. I decided, even though there was no
That's not even a Perillo cover.
There was no Perillo cover, and I said I've really enjoyed the first couple, and I've decided, you know what? Because Perillo hooked me on the first two, I will be snagging this book. I'm reading it. So yes, Dynamite did it. They hooked me in with Perillo, reeled me in, and I've got a couple of books now that I'm buying from them.
Nice.
So, good job, Dynamite.
I know one reason you're buying it. Or should I say 2 reasons Dennis is buying it.
The Trucks of Land.
The boobages and the cleavengers.
We know what Andy buys books for. King of Spies. This is interesting. I've decided I'm gonna pick up the whole thing. This is an interesting concept. He's considered the world's greatest agent. He's a sniper. He's an assassin. He does all of these different things.
So when you read it, do you hear this theme going through your head? Secret Agent Man.
You can.
Secret
You absolutely can.
Agent Man.
But he's not just a good agent. He hates what's going on in the world today, how corrupt the politicians are, how corrupt everything is. And he's decided to take it in because he's only got 6 months to live. He's going to take it into his own hands and remove all the corrupt individuals around the world.
God, I hope he can fix the inflation around the world.
Yes. So, interesting concept. Mark Millar is doing it.
Yeah, is that supposed to be Vampy on the next cover or no?
Yeah, it's Vampirella.
It is Vampirella. There you go. See, Joe?
Yep. She's one of the gals.
It's a book about Sterling Archer. There you go.
Danger Zone.
There you go.
Lana.
Oh, I knew you'd get. I saw it. I was like, I know Dennis is getting this. It's a Perillo cover.
It was
Very
already
nice
in
cover.
my box. I didn't even have to grab it because it's a Perillo cover. And this one, Sonya becomes
Blue.
the head of hell.
Nice.
So I'm going to be curious. I will read this one and find out. Isn't that his art is just amazing?
No, it is. Actually, another reason I blew this up because he does everything real paint. It's not digital. He's a traditional. I don't know. I think it's acrylic. I don't think it's oils, but I mean, just looking at the painting technique and stuff, it's phenomenal stuff.
Yeah, I wish I could do any of that.
Had made to the comic store this week. King of Spies looks interesting. It is, and the artwork by Matteo Scalera is fantastic.
Good. It is.
He's great.
It is. So this is issue 2. So if you get to the comics and you need to pick up one, hopefully they can either get you a one or they have one on their shelf from last month. And
We Ride Titans.
finally, We Ride Titans. Again, this is an interesting book. I did pick it up and flip through it. It's about kaijus, which we've seen enough. Thank you, Pacific Rim, for really bringing out the kaijus. And they build mechs, basically, to go against the kaijus. This is not necessarily a brand new concept. We've seen it before, but they could have some very interesting elements in there. The art looks interesting. Anytime you get big monsters fighting big robots that we pilot, how can it be bad? So anyway, I'm giving it a shot. I want to see what they're doing because, I don't want the same stuff rehashed, but I want there to be something different to make it worthwhile. So there we go.
Nice. And that is it for that. So hold on a second here. We're to go through. Dennis, like I said, he picked up a few books. He wants to show off. He's a show off.
I
that
wouldn't
way.
say a show off. I'll do the one that Jackson threw in. Why?
Oh, he didn't even make you pay for it.
No, he wanted it out of his collection.
What? Wanted it out of his collection? Okay.
Armor.
I actually have that book, but mine's not signed by Neil Adams like Dennis.
I know.
Dennis is special.
Continuity. I actually used to have the entire run way back when. And when I went through my purge, I wound up getting rid of it. And Jackson threw it in just because, even though he had Neil sign it and stuff like that. And I was like, dude, I actually liked Armor.
And then Dennis was like, "This ain't Skate Man. Where's my Skate Man? Damn it, that's what I want."
Yep. That's what we were talking about. I am a huge Blue Falcon and Dynamite. Love them. And
Me too.
he had a issue number 1, and I actually had to go up and look at my collection when he was over. Do I even have this one? I might. And believe it or not, I went through and I'm like, I don't own it. So I do now. Thank goodness.
I love that. I don't own that one, but we did look it up. It's like a $25 book. So that ain't cheap, but it's good.
Thank you, Dynamite. But yeah, it was definitely worth it. Star Wars, Darth Maul, Son of Death.
Team shirt. Andy copped out to stay warm. I did.
We did. We talked to you. You missed it right at the beginning. We did talk about
My
it.
health matters.
It's 76 in here, and
Just
he's
because
cold.
that's what it's set at doesn't mean that's what it is.
I'm sweating. It's so hot in
Oh,
here.
get over yourself.
But anyway, Son of Dathomir. I did not have issue number 1, so I'm like, this is one of the books when Marvel got the rights back that most of Dark Horse, they said, was not going to be canon. Lo and behold, that was one of them, and it's a great story. So, yes, it's a $50 book, so I spent a lot on it.
That's crazy. That's about 20 years old, so I guess.
And for my finale,
that's nice.
That is Journey into Mystery with the Mighty Thor, issue 109. Magneto. There's your actual very first crossover where Magneto crossed over into a comic from the X-Men.
That's nice.
Yep, it's not in bad shape, and it was not a cheap book, but dang it, this is one lesson I know I don't have to worry about buying in Spartanburg this weekend.
That's right. As mutual Blue Falcon fans, what did you think of Blue Falcon on the Scoob computer animated movie? I have not watched it yet. I know it's on one of the streaming services I have. I want to say HBO Max. I'm not sure. I know I could watch it. I will say I thought the trailer was great. I enjoyed the trailer. I can't really say much more than that. I like the way that they designed the body type for Blue Falcon and stuff. So
I haven't watched it. I
just forgot about it.
So, Joe, did you actually watch it? And if you did, let us know if you give it a thumbs up, because it might be worth a watch. I just finished, and I'm going to get Andy to watch it on Netflix. It's called The Silent Sea. We mentioned it on probably a couple weeks ago. It's on Netflix. It's a Korean space drama, and I was like, kind of wanted to give it a shot. It looked really good. And if you like K-dramas like my wife does, so I watched it with her, and it was solid. We finished it. So I'm going to make Andy watch it.
I think Adam West voiced Blue Falcon in one. I think you're right about that. Obviously, it wasn't this one. But I want to say you're right about him voicing him one time. I also got a book Dennis brought over to me. I was able to pry from his dirty little hands. He had 2 issues of Inhumans #1. I want to collect 1 through 12 because there was only 12 of them from 1975. This is some of George Perez's very early work. So Dennis is like, well, I got 2 #1s. And I said, well, share the love, you bastage. And we worked a deal with a fellow fan of ours, AJ Tom, to where AJ is basically sending Dennis a bunch of Star Trek, The Next Generation DC comics. And in return, all he had to do was give me this Inhumans. So there you have it. I was able to get it. He did watch. He says it's fun. It reminds me of the classic Scooby-Doo cartoon. Oh, nice.
Then it's definitely much. We will watch it and we will give you our opinion on it. But yes, right. That is worth watching, and I'm glad to hear it because some of this new stuff today.
So my Wi-Fi is causing problems once again, even though it's directly plugged in. I'm trying to think what we could share on the screen, because when I share a screen, we're small and we look fine, and then the big image looks good. I just don't know what we could Share. We'll just muddle through it. Not like it matters what we look like.
We can't control the internet, and
not yet. But Al Gore can.
Well, that's because he created it.
That's right.
And pretty soon he's going to become like the lawnmower man and become the AI and become the internet.
Jesus, Joe Biden's America, his inflation is even affecting my internet. Let's go, Brandon.
All right. So we finished. We got a number. We're going to start with Matrix
Resurrection.
Yep. So we both sat down and
real quick, that is my favorite as well. I bought the very first Megalith stuff from the 80s when Neil put it out. I love that stuff.
It was. I agree with that one as well.
So, okay. So, yes, Saturday, my daughter and I went over to Dennis's place because he's got a nice big TV. And if you're curious of what his address is, you could possibly have a big TV. DM me and I'll tell you. He also has a wet, crazy alarm system, so do it at your own risk. Let's see. I've got an Ethernet cable, dude. It is hooked straight into my computer. Here's the problem. My router, my modem goes to a router, and the router goes directly to my computer. But for my devices, I have a Wi-Fi login and network. So there's no reason at all it should say I have a weak Wi-Fi signal on the computer when it's directly plugged in.
It is hardwired in.
The Time Warner or the Spectrum guy came out. He gave me all new equipment. This was a couple months ago. I told him the problem. He's like, man, I don't know what to tell you. So I don't know. Whatever.
It's going to be a node issue because you've redone everything in here. So they're going to have to go out to the box and check it from the box to the main junction or in there. But anyway, Andy's done what he can in his house. So it is hardwired in. And it's just funny because if you do a speed test, it'll be like blazing fast. And then you run it again like 5 minutes later when you see the little thing come up and it's like, and then it'll go, boop. So we're just hoping it kicks back in. I mean, can't do much more about it.
Nope. So anyhow, Matrix. So go over to Dennis's house. We have a great dinner at Freddy's. Great burgers.
Butter
burgers. So tasty. And we go back to Dennis's house. I want to be comfortable, so I brought my weighted blanket over to watch the movie.
He did.
I kicked back the recliner that he has so my feet could be propped up. I had the weighted blanket up around my shoulders and leg. I was like a nice little burrito. It was so comfy. And then we turned on Matrix Resurrections. And let me tell you, this is what happens when you let a chick take over a franchise like The Matrix.
So which chick are you referring to?
One of them, because I know one of them decided, I want no part of it. And one of them was like, worse,
That's
still
Lana.
doing it.
Lana's the one who actually did it.
Lana, ever since she deballed herself, you can tell by what this movie is. It was like a freaking romance sci-fi movie. Oh, Neo needs to get back with Trinity.
So what happened was basically they made fun of it because they were basically like, Warner Brothers is going to make a sequel and you can either be a part of it or not. But either way, we're going to take your creation and do it. Well, one of the two now sisters decided, which was Lana, I will be in and help do it. But you could tell the creative juices were not there. Half of it was missing. And it showed throughout it. Now, the initial concept that they do, and by the way, there will be spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
In this, and we don't care about spoiling it. So if you don't want to know, you've had enough time.
Yeah.
The biggest thing was the concept was really cool. Neo's back into the Matrix. He's back in as Mr. Anderson. But the Matrix wasn't real. It was a game that he created. So he's the creator of a game called The Matrix. which was a cool concept, which means you can do it. It made sense how they inserted him back in. They got everybody's back in there. Trinity is actually somebody else in there, and everything that we knew, Morpheus and blah, 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 they're all there. It was all part of the game, which was neat. They had a great springboard. Really, really cool with it. Instead, they chose to make a really mediocre movie with rehashing a lot of what made the initial Matrix special without introducing anything new and just delving into the old concepts of Matrix and doing a mediocre job at rehashing a lot of it.
And it was long. What's the runtime on that damn thing? 2.5 hours.
Way too long.
I actually fell asleep like 4 times during it, maybe about 5-6 minutes a shot. So it's not like I snoozed out for a while, but I missed a good 20 minutes of the movie, and I don't feel like I missed anything. It was long. I thought it was boring. The concept was kind of cool. He created the Matrix game and whatnot, but I don't know. It was such a letdown. They should have usually. Well, maybe they'll go the Ghostbusters route. And what I mean by that is they tried to do a Ghostbusters a few years ago with the all-female cast. It blew. It wasn't great. And then they rectified it a few years later, 5 years later, with Ghostbusters Afterlife, which was fantastic. So who knows?
Yeah,
maybe they'll realize, wow, this Matrix really sucked. And 4 or 5 years from now, they'll just act like it never existed and do it again. I doubt it.
Neil Patrick Harris was
good.
Was an interesting. He was his term was the analyst. Went overboard with the estrogen hormone injections. Yeah. Hey, that's for wrapped in a blanket.
Hey, let me tell you, it was comfortable. Dennis likes to keep his house.
He dozed off.
Dennis likes to keep his house chilly.
I do. I don't keep my house that warm. I keep it at a nice 71.
Cheapo.
Yep. But Neil Patrick Harris played the analyst, and if you think back to the original ones, they had the architect, the older white-haired dude who spoke like he was in charge of the entire program. Now, Neil Patrick Harris's analyst makes it sound like he's the equivalent of it, but throughout the whole thing, you make it feel like he's just part of the program, not actually in charge of keeping everything in check. He's there to keep Neo in check, because we now find out that Neo isn't the one.
Nope.
He is one of the ones, because it's he and Trinity, and they became a duo. And
they're like the Wonder Twins. When you put them together, they become the one.
And it to me, it drew right back to the latest crappy Star Wars trilogy, where Rey and what's his nuts, they had to become the symbiotic duo for the Force. They just took that concept, applied it in there. It didn't make sense. She's the one who actually was flying at the end.
Yep.
All I'm going to say was this was a mess. So they did bring in some of the characters like Sadie, the French guy who was great in the second movie, where he was in the bathroom and he was the controller. He had the key maker and everything. They brought him in as this wild, ferocious. I just want things to go back to where he was there strictly for member berries. There was no real reason to have him in there. Agent Smith and Morpheus, they explained away that they're still there, but they're done with different actors.
Right.
The actors could not even remotely compare to the originals. Yes. And the fight scene, so the Matrix original one was fantastic because it was sci-fi, and it was kung fu, and it was huge guns and action.
Do you think they reached out to Lawrence Fishburne and
no idea. Nobody knows that. I know.
Yeah, I'm curious if they reached out and those two guys were like,
Nope.
No, man, we're good.
Nope.
We're good.
We're
We did it once. We don't need to do it again.
But all of this was a cheap copy. The Kung Fu, which was so incredibly great, and the gun scenes that were so good, they basically took them, cheapened them, and he blew people back. It was ridiculously boring. What are you laughing at?
Randy's comment is my advice is not to even release a DVD. Force it out of public consciousness as fast as possible.
Yep.
Well, I think one thing it did is I think it really put the kibosh on doing 2 more.
Yeah.
Because I think they went into this with the whole trilogy in mind and really, pumping up Trinity to be the main role for the next 2. That's the feeling I got out of it.
Yeah.
And then because it's not doing good at all, I think that it's a one and done.
Yeah, this Matrix movie it's not the worst movie in the world, but it's meh. We sat there after and went meh. So it's the Matrix.
It is the
Matrix. So we're not even going to spend much more time on it. I'm going to give it my CGC rating first. I'm giving it a 5.0. There's worse movies out there, but honestly, there was no reason to make this, no reason to see it. I will not be buying this. And I do own all the original trilogies, the original trilogy plus the Animatrix, which I enjoyed. This, skip it. This is current day Hollywood garbage that they're puking out. Keanu Reeves, from what I've heard, is donating like 70% of his.
Yeah, no, I read that. I read a headline that said it actually. Yeah, so Keanu Reeves donated 70% of the money he made, not back end, but just upfront money to charities and stuff, which is, good for him. That's awesome. I mean, Keanu's a nice guy like that. I mean, you read stories about that guy and just the nice stuff that he does.
My gut feeling is, I don't know if he was forced into a contract or he had something in there if they did another one. So for my take is, he knew he was going to get paid to do this and knew it was garbage. He did it because maybe he had to. I don't know. But therefore, I'm going to take the money, a lot of the money that I did, and I'm going to give it to a useful cause because this Matrix movie was not worth it.
Nope. So I'm actually giving it a 4.0.
Wow.
Warner's really messed up right now. I hope Discovery, I hope so. Yeah, I'm giving it a 4.0.
He was bored.
I was so bored. I'm
the fight scenes were just garbage, and they improved on none of the CG, none of the special effects. It was rehashing of it. Like I said, skip it. Don't spend your time. We wasted the time for you, so
exactly.
You didn't have to.
And I'm glad we didn't see it in the theater. I mean, it's a movie that you would want to because of the effects and stuff, but it's bad enough I had to kill 2.5 hours. I didn't need to sit through a half hour of trailers before.
The good news is we are going to cleanse your palate right now because we're going to talk the season, maybe series finale.
I think
of
it's series.
Dexter New Blood. I do too.
I think it's series finale.
Dexter New Blood came out.
Dexter New Blood, episode 10, last episode of this new series. I do think it's a series finale, even though I did read that I think it was the head writer said that if Showtime was like, we want to do a season 2, he'd be all in for it. That would be difficult. Are we going to do spoilers or?
Yeah. Most of the people here don't really watch it. That's why we're not going to spend a ton of time on it, but we can spoil it.
Yeah. All right. I mean, Dexter's basically at this point, he was going after in the previous episode. He tracked down Clancy Brown. Clancy Brown's character in this was a psychopath serial killer where he would take in women and then basically
hunt them. Yeah,
he'd be like, okay, you're free. Go run away. And as they ran away, it wasn't even really a hunt. I mean, he'd let them run maybe 40 yards and then with his rifle and scope, take them out. But what you didn't find out until episode 9 was the women, and he took them out specifically with a shot in the back because he basically embalmed them and made them up and then had a big underground area where
Trophy cases.
They were in trophy cases. They were basically in upright coffins where the front of the coffin from like here up was glass. So he could basically go down there and look at every woman he killed. And there were a bunch down there. He's been a busy boy.
It was.
So Dexter and his son, Dexter, of course, gave up the goose in episode 9 to his son, told him everything that he does, his dark passenger and the code. And Harrison was not really that freaked out about it.
Because he's got the same issues. It wasn't until, later, because his dad kind of presented it. He's like a superhero, like Batman. He's a vigilante.
Yeah.
We only go after evil people,
That's
really
right.
bad
and we
people.
have to have the proof.
Yeah. Right. And his son was on board with that. And I'm like, wow, that's an interesting twist. And towards the end, so Dexter, for the first time, really made a few big mistakes. And eventually catches up because the chief of police's girlfriend.
Well, he even made mistakes.
Really good.
Even it started in the first episode when he killed Clancy Brown's son by making mistakes, and he was basically dormant of killing for 10 years. But he just, that dude pissed him off, and he was a bad guy, and there's the proof and all that. So Dexter's like, what's one? But it's been 10 years, so he made some mistakes. And as the show went on, the pieces of the puzzle were just becoming more clear. His girlfriend, who was the head of police in this small town in upstate New York, started piecing things together. So in the last episode 10, she arrests him for the murder of
Matt Caldwell,
who was Clancy Brown's son in the show.
And the end of it basically is he winds up breaking out of jail by killing the coach, which is a deputy. And his son finds out and he goes, "What? We only kill bad people." Son realizes his dad really wasn't telling him the truth. Everything kind of unravels. Dexter realizes he screwed up and his son's going to take the fall for a lot of this. And he basically saves his son by going, "You need to shoot me and end it right now." And he does. And the police chief, the girlfriend, shows up. She realizes what he did. And he goes, he killed coach. The son winds up getting off and winds up taking off into the sunset.
Yeah, the police chief, Dexter's ex-girlfriend, gives his son some cash and basically says, "Get out of here." And the son was actually dating her daughter. And it was neat because the son's like, I can't remember the daughter's name. Tell whoever, I said goodbye. And the police chief's like, "I can't." And he's like, "Why not?" And she's like, "I never saw you.
I was never here.
You were never here."
Yep.
So he takes off in the truck. She radios into the station and says, there's a police involved shooting, basically saying, "Come out." She's the one that shot Dexter. I mean, they did kind of leave it open if there were to be a season 2. I mean, there's a couple ways to go. One is follow Harrison's journey now and where he goes. I don't know. I mean, the thing that made Dexter was Michael C. Hall.
It was.
And doing a spinoff with Harrison, I mean, you could work Michael C. Hall in it the same way they worked Dexter's sister in this series,
basically
as
the devil on the shoulder.
Yeah, devil on the shoulder or angel, whatever, in visions. So that's how they worked in his sister is, when he was doing stuff, she'd be in the passenger seat of the car saying, "You shouldn't do this," or whatever, so they could do that. They could do a new Dexter season 2 following Harrison. Harrison takes what he learned from Dexter with the code and everything.
Which would make the most sense.
It would make the most sense because then you get Michael C. Hall in the show.
Right. Or is Dexter dead?
Right. Because they never checked his pulse. It wasn't a clean shot in the heart area of the chest. It was a little up and to the left, so it definitely hit a lung. But
it's conceivable.
It's Hollywood.
If
the paramedics got there in time, they could save him, and you never know. I mean, I would love more Dexter stuff, but to me,
I think they wrapped it up well.
I thought the whole thing is one of the things I read is one of the reasons they wanted to do it is because they never felt they gave him the right send-off the first time, which I agree. That last episode, after watching, what was it, 7 or 8 seasons of Dexter, and then you do that last episode, and, he rides off into the hurricane, but then they actually, cut to him being, somewhere else, and he's alive and stuff. You're just like, that sucked. So it wasn't satisfying. No, it was like Seinfeld's last episode. So
let's consider this a proper send-off. I think they ended it great. I am good if it ends here. And because they did it right. I thoroughly enjoyed this season. There really was not a lot of woke garbage in this.
No, none at all.
It was solid. It was enjoyable. CGC rating, you go first for the whole season.
Oh, the whole season? I give it a solid 9. I thought it was fantastic.
Yep. I'm doing an 8.5. I think it was really good. I enjoyed parts. There were a couple of slower episodes, but once you figured everything out.
I never really got that feeling with slower episodes.
I did.
Did you really?
But I didn't want to call them filler because later on when you found out, you're like, oh, that makes sense now. But it wasn't in your face. I enjoyed the hell out of it. My wife and I both finished watching it. We both enjoyed it. And thank you for giving Dexter a great ending.
Exactly. Guys, that is going to be it for today.
You don't want to do Book of Boba
Fett? No,
Fett?
because the internet's just pissing me off too much.
All right. Well,
we'll do Book of Boba Fett maybe on Friday.
We're talking about we want to do a review. We want to for sure review Arc Athena.
Eric Canette's book. It was an Indiegogo. He didn't go in demand, so if you missed it, you'd have to go to his website, and we'll cover all that because we want to review it. We both got it, both read it. So we'll review Arc Athena, and then we can also talk Book of Boba Fett. And who knows?
Because there'll be 2 episodes because we'll be able to watch the
hopefully we'll be able to watch the third one. You definitely can, but, I got to work around my kid's schedule.
Oh.
I know.
I'll stay up late tonight.
I know.
So that's a good idea. This internet is crappy. So.
Yeah, I can't because we have Dennis's phone. A little behind the scenes, we actually have Dennis's phone with the YouTube up. So we can see it, and I just glance down, and I can't take us not being in high def. Because when you got 2 good-looking guys like this, you need to see us in all the high def glory. Randy says, still haven't seen episode 3 of Boba. Well, try to catch it. We'll be back probably on Friday to go over it. We're hitting a convention on Saturday, Spartanburg.
Yep, we watched episode 2 of Boba, but we haven't seen 3 yet. But by Friday, we will have seen both.
That's right. So, guys, thank you for joining us. As usual, in the link or in the description below is a link for First Man. This won't be fuzzy. You can get my book. If you haven't backed it yet, please consider backing First Man, Learning Curve. It is volume 2. It is a self-contained story. If you didn't get volume 1, you can get that as part of the campaign. If you just want volume 2, you can do that. If you'd like to get the Art of Andy Smith Black Book, 112-page hardcover, featuring some of my best stuff over my 31-year career, you can get that as well. And you can get yourself a nice swanky t-shirt, First Man on the front, Penumbra on the back.
Oh, yeah.
These are limited edition shirts, signature shirt with my signature and my company on the inside tag. So check that out as well. Guys, thank you so much again for joining us. We will be back probably Friday. Don't know when exactly yet.
But we'll pop it up.
Of course. So until then, everyone take care, and we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Live long and prosper, everybody.
Luke Henry, after kicking Monarch's ass to the depths of space, is back on Earth, and now he's looking to save the world from the Fourth World Foundation. Sure, he had help from Penumbra before, but she's not helping him this time. He's got to face it on his own. Look at these 4 people. He's coming for a villain known as Adonis. He'll do it. You'll be there. Back it now. First Man 2, Learning Curve.